Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the Vicki Boutin design team, and today I am gonna tell you that its layout is really fun, came together quite fast, and I really like the way it turned out. So I'm gonna go straight onto the layout. I'm starting with a foundation paper, and I'm gonna use art crayons only for this layout. In my ideas, I want to create a rainbow on my page, kind of dragging paint. And for that, like I said, I'm going to use my art crayons. I'm going to use all three sets for this. I'm starting with the yellow tone, kind of a goldish tone that is in the neutral set. And you're going to see that I've scribbled it on my piece of acrylic, diluted with some water. And I'm going to make sure that the pigment or the liquid watercolor or the diluted art crayon, whichever way you want to call it, it sits right at the edge of my little piece of acrylic. Because I want to make sure to mark the line when I put it down. I want to literally put it kind of tap the acetate on my paper and then drag it down. That's going to create that drag mark, and I want to have a really, I'm going to say, pretty much straight line of where the beginning of the dragging of the color starts. I want to create like that. I'm going to say kind of, because it's not straight, but a straight line where the dragging of the paint starts. So like I said before, I am starting with the yellowish, kind of goldish tone in the neutral set, and that's the only color that I used. And then slowly I'm going to build my rainbow. So you're going to see that I added a little bit of peach and the orange crayon. These are both from the warm set to create my orange, how would you call it, kind of brushstroke mark on the page. Again, I'm just scribbling the crayon on my piece of acetate, adding a little bit of water so it's really like it dilutes and it's runny. I'm going to make sure that I move all the pigment to the edge of my acetate, and then I'm going to use the edge of the acetate to literally deposit the ink next to the yellow and drag it down, thus creating that drag mark of watercolor. Super simple. I am using, because I forgot to tell you, I am using foundation paper. This is Vicki's brand of paper, really heavy cardstock, so it's gonna make a difference because it's not gonna buckle with all the amount of water that I'm gonna add. And it's a very simple procedure. You're gonna see that once I have my orange, I'm gonna go into kind of the orangey into the reddish pinkish tones. For that, I'm gonna use some of the fuchsia, a little bit of the red crayon, and I mix them together, and it gives me this really reddish tone. So I'm gonna add a little bit of orange just to help me with the transition between the orange and the pink. And then I'm gonna continue working in the same fashion that I had before. Kind of once I diluted the paint or the art crayon, I'm gonna slowly drag it to the edge of my acetate, and then I'm gonna use that to kind of pull the paint down. Now, if you don't have an acetate and you're working with just I'm gonna say just with a palette, then use an old gift card or a credit card that you have some old ones, just to help you create that line. It's not necessary. You're gonna see that, like I said before, it's a very simple background, but I just love the drag effect. It's kind of messy, and the page is gonna have quite a bit of mess, some torn paper, so you're gonna see, but it's gonna come together really nicely. So I'm gonna continue. I did not clean whatever I had left over from the reddish application, and instead I'm gonna use the lilac art crayon, and I think that comes in the cool set. And again, I'm just scribbling on top of that and dilute it with some water. Make sure that I push the diluted art crayon to the edge of the acetate. I'm gonna deposit it right next to the red application, and then just drag it down. Whatever's left over, I'm just gonna start adding splatters right at the top. Once I have that, I'm gonna come with the purple art crayon, and this one is from the cool set, and I'm not cleaning whatever I had left over before because I want to make sure that I create a soft transition of the colors continuing on. So again, same application. Once I have that, I'm gonna go in with the blue art crayon. I'm gonna use the blue art crayon from the cool set, and then I'm gonna bring the navy from the neutral set to create this. And you're gonna see, like I said before, this is all possible because I am using foundation paper, and it has a coating on top of the paper, so it allows for the mixed media to be to remain liquid in this case, kind of a retardant, so you're able to play. If you're doing this on regular cardstock, the water is gonna soak right into the cardstock as soon as you lay it down. So if you wanna kind of create a similar background but you do not have foundation paper, then go ahead and add a soft coat of yeso to your page before you work this, so that you can have that like that slower drying process for your art crayon, and you're able to drag and create the drag marks and have the colors fuse nicely. That's just an advice. And then you're gonna see that, going back to the layout, that I continue working with my drag marks, and I went into the teal art crayon. This is from the Cool set, and then the only color that I'm missing, it's green. So I do not want to go to the edge of the pages. I want to leave, I'm going to say around a half an inch from the edges. So my choice, I'm going to go back to the left hand side of the layer where the yellow is at. So I mix a little bit of the original yellow that I had. I'm going to bring some of the green from the Cool set, also one of the greens from the Neutral set. And then I'm going to create the green mark right at the edge, at the left, at the left edge of the yellow application, making sure that I leave around a half an inch from the edge of the paper. I don't want to go all the way to the edges of the paper. I want to leave a little space. And then once I have that, I'm just gonna go back, for example, with the orange. I know that I need to accent the color. It's really light, so I'm gonna come in with a little bit of the oranger crayon and just add another layer of color on top of what I have, just to deepen the color. And then just to finish this, I'm gonna accent some of the yellow, just because I think I need to make it differentiated and create kind of a softer transition between the green and the yellow. So I'm gonna play with some of the art crayons. And then just to end this application, I went ahead and added quite a bit of splatters towards the top of the line. Like I said before, I try my best to keep a straight line. If you want to have like a really nice clean look, then go ahead and add a piece of washi tape or painter's tape, just to create that crisp line. I know that I'm gonna add some other stuff to the top, but I wanted to have something that defined the drag mark and then defines the other part of the layout, even though I'm gonna end up covering that little line. But again, there's a lot of things that you can do with this. So I make sure that my background dried completely before I continue working. And what I'm going to do is I brought that kind of flowery rosette stencil that comes in Storyteller, and I'm going to use that and pretty much all the crayons that I use, but I'm going to apply the crayon onto the paper through the stencil in the same color order, but I want to create that rosette impression on my page. For that, I am using the stencil brush, and you're gonna see that all I'm doing is scribbling my crayon on a piece of actually it's not even a piece. I'm using my Tim Holtz glass mat. Vicki talked about it, and I had it and I hadn't used it, so I pulled it out and I'm gonna start using it. Just makes it seem easier to work in it. So I'm working the same colors. I'm gonna slowly move the stencil from the right towards the left. I have two brushes, so I'm able to go with the cool tones on one side and then use another brush for the warm tones. So I'm just continuing, and I don't want to reach all the top to the page. Just when I create, I'm gonna say around 2 inches of the impression. And even though the stencil is not a continuous stencil, what I mean by that is it just has like different rosettes or different scribbles, but they don't match. I'm able to kind of superimpose the image, and you're gonna see that a lot of it kind of gets hidden in the little curls, which I'm okay with. So I'm just gonna continue with the application. I'm using a dry application, so all I'm doing is scribbling the crayon in a piece of it's just the mat that comes in the glass mat, and then I'm just gonna pick up the pigment with my art crayon, just going on a circular motion, and then I'm gonna go on a circular motion on top of the stencil just to create the impression on the page. Once I have that in place, I'm actually gonna set it aside until I start working on the picture. Because I'm going with that dry application, I'm able to continue working right away, but I'm gonna set it aside so I can work on the picture and what I want to add. And my idea for this layout, I really started with no idea. I just wanted a rainbow for a change. So But once I added all this, and I have quite a bit of scraps of paper. I have still some of the paper from Storyteller, but I have quite a bit of scraps. So I'm gonna use the scraps for this layout. I just thought that I wanted to take advantage of those two kind of different areas of mixed media. So I'm back in my picture, and that's my baby with a piece of, I think this is the mosaic paper. The B side has this navy color, and then you're gonna see that literally I'm gonna start ripping papers. I wanna create the horizontal line that separates the stencil look of the rainbow to the drag marks, and I'm just gonna use pieces of paper. So I'm ripping the paper, I'm gonna go with my scissors, and I want to create, just think of it as kind of I don't know if you call it arrows or triangles, but I want to have that kind of tapered look to the piece of paper. So you're gonna see me play with the papers until I get that look, and I'm just gonna make sure that I bring some of the colors that I have on the background. So the first paper that I rip is a vagabond. The second one here is the one that has oh my god, it has the cut apart on the other side. I can't remember what the name is. After that, I'm gonna bring a piece of daisies because I want to have some of that yellow that I have on the background. I'm gonna bring a piece of the rainbow paper, and I'm just gonna cut the piece that has the green part because I need some of the green. I'm gonna bring some of the mariposa paper because it has some of that orange kind of pinkish tone that I have on the background, but just little pieces. So this is a great idea when you have a leftover with just scraps of paper. You don't have, I'm gonna say, large pieces to create a larger design. So just go ahead and rip up the paper, make it messy, especially because you don't have, like, maybe you don't have the same size paper strips. Then go ahead, if you like more of a clean look, then go ahead and just cut strips of paper and give them the same idea and just kind of layer them. You're gonna see that I'm gonna layer my pieces of paper so that they kind of reach the same area where the color is sitting. So kind of color blocking. I wanna be true to the rainbow, so I'm gonna make sure that the ends of the papers, like the little taper end that I'm creating, lands in the area where the color is placed. And I'm gonna try to just continue that, and then once I have them in place, you're gonna see that I'm gonna glue them together, and I'm glue them right onto the layer. Again, you can go different ways. That way, if you don't like the messy mixed media, then you can make this super clean. Don't do the stenciling, just do strips of paper. That way you have a more clean look. Instead of having, like how I've done the impression with the stencil, just kind of messy, then instead block an area so you have that crisp line. And I know some days I am the same way. Some days I want to have something nice and clean, so I would make sure that I clean everything. By clean everything, I mean I'm gonna mask so I have the straight lines. But in this case, I wanted something really messy, and the idea is just, I really wanted to document this picture. You're gonna see my baby sleeping on the side of the couch, and I usually have a little basket with all my albums, my journals right there that I'm using on a daily basis. And I am subscribed to a mailer from Brandy Kincaid, and we're really good friends actually. So every time she sends her envelope my way, she adds a note to the envelope, and this one said, "You are so loved." And the baby happened to be sleeping on top of that part of the envelope. So I took a picture, sent it to Brandy, and I was like, you know what, this is the perfect photo op. So I knew already that was going to be the title for my layout, and that's in the puffy stickers. So all I'm doing right now is just embellishing. I'm going to bring some of the feathers, just because when I think of feathers, I think of pillows, I think of sleep. So I'm going to use that to tie the clusters of ephemera. I'm going to take advantage of the horizontal line that I created with the papers, and I brought that long ruler. I think it's a chipboard sticker, just to help me with the horizontal line. I'm gonna try to use word stickers, the phrases, just because I have the horizontal look. I'm adding the feathers in between, kind of just as if they're floating in midair. Literally, they're floating. And once I have that in place, I need to start working on the title. And for the title of this page, I wanted to continue that rainbow look. I have a lot of white space. I do enjoy a lot of white space, but I wanted to bring more rainbow onto this page. So first thing I did is I cut at the bottom of my paper, I just cut a squiggly line, just a squiggly line across the entire paper. And then right underneath the picture, when you get there, I just kind of created more of a concave shape, and then I cut a slit there and I just folded the edges up. Now here I'm gonna come in with the rainbow paper that is in the collection, but I want to make sure that when I place it down, it kind of follows the tones that I have in the drag marks. So all I'm gonna do is just place them so where it kind of sits in the same area. I'm gonna cut the X's and then move it towards the other side just to complete my line. And it kind of worked out really nicely. I mean, not perfect colors, not perfect positioning, but the sequence of the colors do match what I have already on top. So that was a win already in my paper. Once I have done, remember those edges that I folded up, I'm just gonna staple them with my mini attacher, and then I'm gonna add these little stickers from the chipboard that says it has the music notes, and then it says, I think, you make life sweet or something like that. So I just thought that I want to bring some pops of gold and some black and white, so I added that sticker there. I know in the little vertices that the folded pieces of paper created, that's where my title is gonna sit. So all I'm doing right now is just adding extra embellishments, and like I said, photo op, that was the title of my layout. And here I'm gonna bring out all those little circles that are in these puffy stickers, just to add them. Think of it as enamel dots. So I'm just adding them based on the color. So fuchsia on the fuchsia, green on the green, yellow on the yellow, and so on. I'm color blocking my embellishments, and then I'm gonna add a few of the hearts right next to the photo op. I think it's quite naked at the bottom, so it needs to add a little bit of extra color. And then I'm gonna add the hearts based on what I have. So warm tones on the left and cool tones on the right. I'm gonna bring a gold sticker to a gold chipboard heart at the bottom, just to bring more of that gold that I have on top. I know that my lines of journal are gonna sit below the picture all the way to the title. I have that perfect space there. But before I finish that, and because I have all those little pops of gold in the stickers and in some of the areas, I'm just gonna bring a little bit of gold ink. I had it handy because I had been working on another project right before this, so I created like 3 videos in one day. So I just added some of the gold around, every single part of my layout, and then added my lines of journal, like I said, right underneath the picture, between the picture and the title. Perfect space. I love how this turned out. It took me 45 minutes to create this layout. It was super simple. I love the rainbow, because you guys know that my favorite color combination is black and white with a hint of rainbow, and this pretty much tells my story. Lots of white space, kind of a mess, kind of abstract, but I love it. I love how this turned out. And as always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. Remember that you can check more details in Vicki's blog. And at the same time, I'm so excited to jump into color study. The weather's changing, so I want to see the collection. But for now, I'm happy working with Storyteller. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys.